All right, guys. So it looks like Nickelodeon is facing some issues. Okay, their ratings are crashing. Their viewership is crashing. Okay, and this is par for the course when it comes to companies that go woke. Okay, we've seen this with the NBA, we've seen this with NFL, and now we're seeing this with Nickelodeon, right? And at some point, these companies will learn their lesson. But you know, I think a lot of these companies are going to double down on wokeism and pushing whatever agenda that they think the next generation is going to agree with, because this is what it's about. At the end of the day, it's about money. But right now, it seems that this might not necessarily be the most profitable thing to be doing. So they're not getting an immediate return on their investment. As again, Nickelodeon, their ratings are crashing amid their LBGTQ push in terms of the shows and the content they're putting out on their channel. And I'm not surprised at all, because I have a hard time believing that parents are going to let their kids continue to watch this type of stuff. I think these companies underestimate how conservative America still is socially. But let's read a little bit more here. There's growing evidence that Nickelodeon's hard push to promote the LGBTQ agenda to children is having a negative impact on the network's ratings. In the last 2 weeks, both Nickelodeon and its preschool targeted network, Nick Jr., have released videos championing trans, queer, and pansexual inclusion. One video that sparked mass outrage depicted a cartoon version of drag queen Nina West singing about various LGBTQIA groups loving each other so proudly on Blue's Clues and You, a show for 2 to 5 year olds. That same video showed a female to male transgender beaver who appeared to have post-operative surgical scars on its chest. Wow, that's OD, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's my issue. It's one thing to have characters that are ambiguous, okay, in which, you know, you see them every now and then or whatever, right? It's another to just be flat out putting up characters that have scars on their chest. I mean, come on. This is the problem. You give somebody an inch, they take a whole mile every single time. And again, no wonder parents are outraged at Nickelodeon about this. Why is this something that you want your children to watch? I don't understand. You know, to a certain extent, I do understand what the marketing executives are thinking, and I'm going to tell you why I understand what they're thinking. But I just don't think this is going to work out well. I just don't. It's too overt. It's too in your face, right? It makes people uncomfortable. A lot of adults are not comfortable with this, and they're damn sure not going to be comfortable with their kids seeing stuff like this. It's crazy to me. In a separate live action video Nickelodeon posted to YouTube last week, West explains the meaning behind various LGBTQ pride flags through a song. These latest videos come after the network began overtly celebrating Pride months several years later, and imply in 2020 that its most popular character, SpongeBob SquarePants, is gay. Okay, so about SpongeBob. Now, like most kids growing up, I did watch SpongeBob. Now, I didn't really start to have questions about SpongeBob until I was an adult. Okay, I think when I became an adult, I think it became obvious that SpongeBob, you know, may or may not be straight. Okay, but I think that it's unnecessary to confirm that for children, right? It's unnecessary because it became obvious to me as an adult. But again, there's a difference between it being implied versus it being overt. Okay, there's a difference, because although adults may be able to pick up on it, kids will not be able to pick up on it, right? But when kids can start picking up on this stuff, that becomes an issue, right? The company also announced that it reboot of Rugrats, a popular series that originally ran through the 1990s to 2004, would feature a single lesbian mom, Natalie Morales. The actress who plays the character commented, quote, "I think it's so great because examples of living your life happily and healthily as an out queer person is such a beacon for young queer people who may not have examples of that." Wait. Again, another character. Again, being a kid, 90s kid, I watch Rugrats. I never had any idea about, I guess, Phil and Lil's mom. I think that's the name of the kids. I had no idea that she was a lesbian whatsoever. Okay, and I turned out fine. I don't think that kids need to know that, right? Now, to adults watching Rugrats, I haven't watched Rugrats as an adult, right? Just like I haven't watched SpongeBob as an adult. It might be more apparent that maybe she was a lesbian the whole time. But that's something that adults are smart enough to realize because they're adults. That's not something that needs to be openly pushed on children. Why is it that these networks are obsessed with pushing sexuality on children and they act like this is not a problem? People want to try to frame it as, well, you're being a bigot in that, you need to be inclusive of everybody and all types of lifestyles. And listen, I agree with you when it comes to adults, right? When it comes to adults, do you? If you want to be outwardly whatever, fine. It's not my cup of tea, and I don't necessarily agree with the lifestyle, but hey, we live in a free country, right? That's what America's about. Freedom, okay? But when it comes to pushing this stuff on kids, this is not something that I agree with. The same way I wouldn't agree with kids watching content in which you have women being overly sexualized, even if it's my son watching it, right? If I had a 3 or 4-year-old son, I don't want him watching naked women, right? I don't want him watching women twerk and all types of stuff like that. I don't want him watching content that would be considered straight, right? If it's overly sexualized, no, I don't want him watching that. Because I don't want my child to be exposed to sexual content or content having to do with sex or sexuality at a young age. That's something that parents typically want to wait to talk about with their child when they get older, not when they're innocent, okay? You don't want to ruin a child's innocence. This type of content right here that Nickelodeon is pushing is doing that. They're trying to take the role of a parent when you're not a parent. It's not your job to do that. Your job is to put out cartoons that are kid friendly. Yes, some of these cartoons have adult jokes, but again, adults understand that. And that's why I said, listen, I don't really have an issue if it's implied, but it's not overt. I don't really have an issue with it because adults can get that. Kids are not going to pick up on it. I'm trying to be open-minded, right, to a certain extent. But it's different when it's overt, when it's an agenda, when you're pushing it on people. Those are different things. It goes on to say, but it appears many parents don't think it's so great. Pirates and Princesses, a popular entertainment site specializing in Disney-related news, reports Nickelodeon YouTube videos were downvoted to such a degree that they've now hidden the ratio. The site also says the network has seen a major decline in viewers since it began overtly pushing the LGBTQ agenda to its young viewers. Since July 2017, Nickelodeon's viewership has dropped from 1.3 million average viewers per week to a June 2021 average of 372,000. In only 4 years, Nickelodeon has dropped more than 2/3 of its audience. That is catastrophically bad for a cable channel, but with cable on the way out, maybe it's not so bad. The catch here is that it is, in fact, that bad and perhaps worse, simply because Nickelodeon seems to be the primary driving force behind new subscribers to Paramount Plus. There are signs that Viacom has not learned any lessons and is retrofitting these old shows with the same principles that have resulted in Nickelodeon's huge loss in ratings. Even with a show about infants, much of the headlines have been about a retcon now lesbian character. Whatever your thoughts on that issue, it's hard to see how children's shows about infants is best served in advertising when the news is all about sexuality. Ding, 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 ding. And with that being said, even if you're a liberal parent, right? Let's say you're not conservative. Let's say you're center left. Again, why would you want your kids to be exposed to this, right? But again, the overtness. Why would you want your child to be exposed to sexuality at such a young age in an overt way in a kid show? I don't understand why you would agree with this. Which again, may explain why they're losing all viewerships, because I think that most parents, whether you're liberal or conservative, don't agree with this stuff. They don't. This is particularly bad news for parent company Viacom CBS, which has been attempting to bulk up its streaming service Paramount Plus by adding several hundred hours of Nickelodeon programming to the platform's library. So far, the negative reaction from consumers doesn't seem to be deterring the network. In response to West posting a video of the Pride song, Nickelodeon's official account tweeted, "It gets better every time we watch it," alongside happy face and heart emojis. All right, so that is that. And as you can see here, here's a chart of Nickelodeon's ratings over the last 3 years or so, 4 years, since 2016. And yeah, it's just been a gradual decline. Okay, people just not watching the network. And again, some people say, well, all these networks are experiencing a drop in viewership. That's true, man. But going from 1.2, 1.3 million all the way down to 300,000, definitely not good. Not good in my opinion. And I've showed you guys this poll before, but I have to keep bringing it up because I think it really does tell you what these companies are thinking and how they're thinking about 10 to 20 years down the road. This is what they're thinking. Because as you can see here, guys, this is American self-identification as LBGTQ by generation. Each generation, the percentage of people that identify as LBGTQ increases, right? So those born before 1946 were traditionalists. It was 1.3% of those identified. Now, Gen Z, those born between 1997 and 2002, 15.9% of those people, kids really, identify as LGBTQ. And what that means is that the generation after Generation Z, most likely, it's going to probably be about 1/5 of people, kids, that are going to identify this way. Okay? That's what these advertisers are looking at. That is what these TV networks are looking at. This is what they're paying attention to. So when you ask, why are they doing this? This is why. Now, the question is, is this happening because it's being pushed on kids, or is it happening because kids are becoming more comfortable coming out about it and identifying this way? Like, is it the cool thing to do? And I think it's a little bit of both. I really do. I think it's a little bit of both. And, hey, capitalism, you deal with the good and the bad. There are people that are going to want to serve that market. And they're saying that this is going to be a strong market in the future. And this is why they're doing it, even though the immediate reaction to it obviously is not working out in their favor. But they think in the long haul, it's going to work out. So we will see. But in my opinion, I just don't know if it's going to work out the way they think. Because I just think a lot of parents, even if you are accepting of that lifestyle, right? I think a lot of parents are not going to be comfortable with their kids being exposed to it at such a young age. We're talking about 3 to 5-year-olds, right? I don't think parents are going to be comfortable with that, even those that happen to be more liberal or progressive, to be quite honest with you. So, like I said, we will see. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.